Hi, I'm Terry Naturally,
And I'm Dr. Lynn Wagner.
and I have over 50 years of experience and knowledge in health and nutrition.
And I'm a medical doctor with a passion for holistic health. We come together to offer you unique viewpoints and expertise as health advocates around topics that deal with today's health concerns.
And always for your good health. So let's get into today's topic. Good morning,
Good
Dr.
morning.
Lynn.
Good morning, Terry.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are
Good,
you?
you look great. Everything's going well.
So I heard we're going to talk about our brains today.
Yeah, most people don't talk about the brain.
No, and
They don't think it has any connection with the body.
No, and I mean, for me, I'm in my late 40s, and I really didn't think much about my brain my entire life because it always just worked, right? So
Yeah.
I was able to go to medical school, and I was able to take care of patients, and it just works. But now as I'm hitting my 50 mark, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I don't start losing my brain function. And the more I study it, the more I realize I've probably already started to lose my brain function at this age. So now I'm really interested in all the things I can do to keep that noggin as strong and clear as possible for as long as possible.
Why do we start losing our mind? Why, elderly people, they don't remember things.
Right.
They're not as sharp as they once
Right.
were. They go into a room looking for something. Why I'm in this room? What am I looking for? They don't have good learning skills. They
Right.
don't remember well. What's happening to us?
Well, that's great. I love it. And you can also see that there's a difference. So some people, that you take a bunch of people who are at one age, and some people will be very, very, very forgetful, and some people are just sharp, right?
Right.
So there's a huge difference in people. So you wonder why that happens too. And I think there's obviously always going to be a genetic predisposition. So some people genetically are going to lose brain power faster than others, and there's not a whole lot we can do about that. But that's like the small percentage,
right.
What we were talking about before we started is that amount of inflammation and what our diet does to that amount of inflammation in our brain. And are we challenging our brain? Are we taking toxins that are affecting our brain? So those are the things that we can really make a difference and work on.
Right. And inflammation, people don't know where it comes from, but they know they have pain. That's an inflamed condition.
Right.
Inflamed condition. They don't feel well. That's an inflamed condition.
Right.
They have heart disease. That's an inflamed condition. 98% of all of our conditions are really related to inflammation.
Yes.
And the starter of all that is oxidative stress. So the diet, though, is responsible for all of that.
Right.
And they don't realize that what they're eating, like sugar and carbohydrates, all the toxins and the junk foods, the chemicals, the pesticides, all of these have an effect on our brain.
Yes.
So the brain becomes highly inflamed.
Yes, and people don't know it. Like, they just don't feel it because they're so used to feeling sick and inflamed that they think that's the normal baseline.
Right.
And when you're a child or an adolescent or a young adult, you have so much resiliency that you can get away with a lot of that stuff, and you might not feel super disabled. But then what happens is it catches up with you, and sometimes that's the problem. Like, I see these patients who are in their 50s and 60s, and I walk in the room and I'm like, whoa. And then I talk to them and I'm like, whoa, it's kind of too late.
Right.
Like, it's hard to reverse it. So it's really important to start, and you've done an amazing job with this, obviously. It's important to start younger to protect that brain so that when you get older, you're not that person who's super forgetful.
I think we just stop the aging process. Not that we're going to live to be 120.
Right.
But I think people get old because of the lifestyle they've chosen.
Yes.
Every day we make choices. What we wear, what we eat, where we're going, what we're doing. We all make choices every day.
Yep.
And they don't think about the choices they make when it comes to food. They eat because they're hungry. They eat
Right.
because it's pleasurable. They eat because it tastes good. They don't think about what's this going to do to my body.
Right.
I'm not going to take my car to a gas station and put diesel fuel in my car.
Right.
Or a quality of gas that should not be in my car. So we take care of our car because we do the right things to it because we know it's expensive. We paid a lot of money for it. We don't want it to deteriorate as fast as it would be. But our body deteriorates faster because we don't take care of it.
Right.
So diet is a huge factor when it comes to brain function. And I think by really eliminating carbohydrates and sugar, it has an effect on how the brain functions.
It has a huge effect on how the brain functions. And it's not just what you don't eat in your diet, it's what you add to the diet. It's those colorful foods. It's the right fatty acids. it's the right kind of protein. So it's what the quality of the food is that you're getting.
Yep, absolutely.
Really, really important. And it's also avoiding the things that are toxic to the brain. I think, we live in Wisconsin, which is a very big drinking culture, right? There's a bar on every street corner. You go to other states and people just don't drink as much as you drink in Wisconsin, right?
Right.
And what people don't realize is how much that alcohol affects the brain as well. Not that you have to be a teetotaler or not drink at all, but if you're getting to that point where you're often intoxicated or you're a chronic heavy drinker, you're literally killing brain cells.
Right.
So it's how many things are you putting into your body that are also kind of destroying those neural circuits and pathways.
Yeah, there are some huge studies in the world, many, many people, like in the Mediterranean countries. That's a huge study.
Right.
Because it's a group of population of people in various countries like Italy and Greece and France, and they're much healthier than we are. They have less heart disease, they have less dementia, less Alzheimer's disease, less cancer. But if you look at the diet, it's primarily seafood, not as much red meat. Meat's not bad, but there's other things that we should be including, like seafood, fruits and vegetables, all the things that contain high concentrations of polyphenols, nuts and seeds, olive oil and wine. These are all good foods for us, which have an effect to improve the quality of our brain function and all the other metabolic functions of our body.
Right. And then also just challenging the brain. I mean, people I think about, I try to every day, we were talking about this before, getting outside and exposing my eyes to light, because the eyes are basically like a extension of your brain.
Right.
So it's challenging my retina, challenging those neural circuits. It's doing things that challenge your brain. So in my work, I get mentally challenged almost too much. So I don't need to do any extra thing like that. But doing crossword puzzles or Sudoku, or being engaged in a book club, or engaging with other like-minded people who can talk about challenging topics, that makes your brain think. Even think outside of the box. Talk with someone who has different opinions than yourself.
Right.
Those are all really, really powerful things. Don't just sit and, when we sit and binge something like Netflix and we just watch shows, which is fine in moderation, but if that's all you're doing, you're just passively taking stuff in versus actually making your brain think creatively and think outside of the box and come up with solutions and things like that. That will keep that brain stronger and working longer.
Yeah, I read a lot.
Yeah, you obviously
read 3 or 4 books a week.
Right.
I'm not reading one entirely. I've a chapter here, a chapter on this one, and a chapter on this one. And I'll go back to here's another chapter on this one, because it's not a novel. You don't have to follow the whole chapters after chapters. So I read a lot because it's interesting to me. It educates where I'm going, but it really helps you focus on something and makes you think, and then makes you remember that, hey, I got to write that. No, I'm going to remember that. Right. So,
what are your favorite nutrients or natural products for the brain? What comes to my mind for sure is healthy omega-3s. I think of actually magnesium, like magnesium threonate, I think is really powerful for the brain.
Forms of, I shouldn't say all forms are, but there are several forms that are really,
magnesium.
really good. Yep.
I think about mushrooms. I think there's a lot of good research coming out about mushroom therapies. I can't talk too in depth about that, but I think mushrooms are really promising. Is there anything else that comes to your mind?
What I would do is, because we have an inflamed brain, what reduces inflammation is an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. Curcumin is a very powerful anti-inflammatory and also an antioxidant. We talk about berries having an ORAC value, which reduces free radical damage, which destroys cells, brain cells, whatever it might be. That's only about a 6,000 ORAC value. That's good, but there are things that are more powerful.
And can you just share with people what the ORAC value is?
Oh, yeah. Well, forgot the name of, I don't pronounce it.
You don't have to, I don't, just like what it means though.
Well,
because I don't think people know that.
You have an ability, I should say it this way, oxidative stress is how we damage our cells. When you sprain your ankle, you have damage. When you have that damage there, something comes there to repair that damage, and that's the inflammation.
Yes.
People think inflammation is bad because it's associated with pain.
Right.
But inflammation is never bad. It's always good.
Right.
It's always good because it's a process that heals and restores the damaged tissue. So you have sprained an ankle, in a week or two, that inflammation repairs that, and you're okay.
Right.
Why do we have constant inflammation that affects all areas of the body, all the joints, the brain, heart, everything? Is because we have a diet that causes constant oxidative stress.
Right.
Causes inflammation there to heal, but we never stop. It's like slamming your finger in the car door and you have inflammation, right?
Yeah.
You have a swollen thumb or a swollen finger. It's hot. It hurts. There's warmth. It's painful. Well, the cure for that is don't slam your finger in the car door. So if the diet is causing the inflammation, then don't eat the diet that causes the inflammation.
Right.
So vegetable oils causes inflammation. Sugar and carbohydrates and stress cause inflammation. So trying to avoid all those factors will reduce the inflammation entirely in the body.
So the ORAC substances are the things that kind of cool the inflammation down,
Well,
correct?
when you have inflammation, it's caused by oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is anything that damages a cell in the body. You've got smoking, obesity, chemicals, pollution, all the things that actually can age the cell prematurely, destroy the cell, cause cancer in the cell. All these things cause damage. Now, we can prevent that damage to a certain extent with the antioxidants. Berries contain a high level of antioxidants, but there are things that contain very high quantities, like curcumin. Instead of 6,000 ORAC value, it's a 1.5 million.
Wow.
Grapeseed extract is 2.1 million. Olive oil and olive extracts is up to like 4 million. These are preventing oxidative damage, preventing inflammation, preventing premature aging everywhere. You see somebody in the desert that lives in the desert, they smoke, and you look at their face, it's all weathered. It's wrinkly, and it looks tough.
Right.
Well, you got the sun damage, you got the smoking damage. Those cells are aging so fast. So is your brain cells aging that fast as well. So antioxidants prevent all that damage to the body, but you don't want to continue to make the damage, so you don't want to eat the same diet that's causing the damage.
For sure.
Like putting your finger in the car door. Don't do that.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to
do it over and over again.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
Right.
So we have to clean up our diet. We have to clean up the way we live. We have to have better choices of our lifestyle.
Right.
We have to get better sleep, 7-9 hours of sleep,
Yes.
exercise, walk. The people in the Mediterranean countries, they don't exercise like we do, but they walk
They move
everywhere.
all
They
day.
work everywhere.
Right.
I've met people in the Mediterranean countries, 95-year-old farmers working out in the field with the kids.
Right. Lifting
in good
heavy
shape.
sacks.
Yeah,
Right.
in good shape.
Yeah, we've only had to create fitness centers because we are so sedentary on all the other hours of the day.
Because we don't do anything else.
Right. I'll have patients, and on my intake form, I ask about exercise, and there will be a guy who says he doesn't work out. But then after talking to him, I realize he's a laborer and he's walking around, 20,000 steps a day and lifting heavy things. I'm like, you work out. You actually work out more than someone who's going to the gym for 45 minutes a day.
And it's more functional.
And it's way more functional.
Right.
Yeah. So that I try to incorporate that into my life. On the days that I'm not sitting with patients, I'm trying to do more functional movement throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we didn't touch on too is hormones for brain health. So in women and men, what I see when they reach that stage where they, like men go through menopause or women go through menopause and they're losing a lot of their hormones, that is going to directly affect their brain.
Well, for brain function, then for men and women would be DHEA.
That's true. Yes.
No question.
Yes.
Then also too, testosterone for men.
And estrogen for women.
And
testosterone for women too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the problem is how they both eat block the uptake, block the production of the proper hormones in the individuals.
Right.
Men, because they eat and they get fat, the fat cells start producing more estrogen than testosterone.
Right.
They get the man boobs. They get the apple
belly.
shape, the pot belly, the beer belly, bread belly, all of them. And they don't feel good. They don't have any energy levels. They don't have the libido. They don't feel good. They lose their muscle
brain
strength.
feels foggy.
Everything.
Right. And the good news about it, I mentioned some of these people who I see who I feel like they're too far gone. That can happen, but more of the time, if someone's willing to make pretty major changes over time, they don't have to do it overnight, they can reverse a lot of that dysfunction that's happened.
Absolutely.
So things regenerate. There's neuroplasticity.
I find it to be so amazing because we have a body that we have made so many abusive changes
Right.
over 6, 7 decades.
Right.
And then you change all that. You start getting more sleep, you get some exercise, you change your diet, and in 3 to 6 months, you have a new health life.
You do.
Really, 3 to 6 months.
I agree.
How forgiving is that?
It's so free. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, just think about your liver. Until your liver is cirrhotic, which is like almost you need a transplant.
Yeah.
Up until that point, you can regenerate your liver. So you can have been a heavy drinker, toxic, high fructose corn syrup eater. Your liver can look like a duck's fatty liver, like
Right.
right. You reverse that. You start exercising. You cut the sugar out. Eat clean. And you can regenerate a really beautiful, pink, healthy liver.
Yeah, I
So
think
you
the
can
liver
always
is
change.
the liver is the engine of the body.
Yeah.
And really, the fact you can cut away 3/4 of it and it'll regrow back to its original shape and size. It's an amazing organ.
It is.
And then we abuse it. And 20% of kids today have fatty liver
I know.
disease.
I see the scans.
Yes, it's amazing.
Yes,
I mean,
'cause-
and people don't know that because they can't see it.
No.
Doctor will feel it, but they don't do that.
No.
And there is no symptoms, there's no signs,
No.
there's no pain. All of a sudden, they've got liver cancer.
Yeah, you don't know your liver's gone until it's
Gone.
end stage. Yeah. So and I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking about brain health, but I think everything we talked about is also going to give you liver health and give you kidney health and give you
Right.
muscle health and heart health and all of it.
It's hard to
all
it's hard to
connected.
talk separately.
It is hard because we're not separate. We're not these separate little
Right.
pillars of
Little pods in our body.
no. We're a whole human being. So, but really good stuff. And I think I think my biggest takeaway I'd like to share is that you might not know how inflamed and sick you are and how bad you feel until you've tried it a different way, and then you'll know how good you possibly can feel.
Right.
So if you see someone and you look, oh, how do they have so much energy? How are they so lit up? And how are they doing so much every day? You probably could do that too. It's just maybe making
Everybody
some
could,
changes.
yes.
Yeah.
All you have to do is make the changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Be disciplined. Make sure that it's just a few things every day make changes. Hey, I'm taking the steps today. I'm
Yes.
not taking the escalator or the elevator.
Right.
I'm going to park 3 blocks away. People drive to the gym and they look for the closest parking place at the door. They keep driving around looking for a place to park.
Hey, when it's 0 degrees out, I'm going to do that too.
Yeah, well, that's in Wisconsin.
I know. Oh, no, I agree with you. It's funny. Awesome. Well, always so fun to talk to you.
Great to talk to you. Love it.
I look forward to our next talking adventures, and
Right.
I hope everyone's going to take some of this home and make some great changes.
If they want to do it, they're going to have a whole new life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Great. See you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Thank you.